Good morning.
Uh,
Susan.
Good morning, Jacques. How are you, brother?
I'm good, man.
I'm well. Hey, good morning to the people also.
Yeah.
You
Good
know,
morning to everybody out there. If it's not morning, then why are you watching this?
well, it's good morning from us.
Good
You know,
morning. It is
yeah,
morning.
yeah.
It's a beautiful morning actually in Joburg.
I think so too. It's not too warm, not too hot,
Yeah,
not
sure.
too cold because it's been.
It's been intense. It's been intense. We're waiting for the rain, man. My mint plant there is like ready to die. My mint's not holding up.
Is it that one?
It's the one next to the.
Yeah, I know it needs
Yeah.
some water.
I
Definitely.
watered it, man. It's just the thing is that mint plant is dramatic, man. Like
I can
it's
understand.
like extremely dramatic. It's when it's raining, it's got leaves for
Yes,
days.
yes.
But when it doesn't rain for 2, 3 days, it's what are you doing to me? Why?
Yeah, maybe also the sand. I mean,
Yeah,
the soil is not holding enough of
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
retaining a lot of those. You can put some mulch on top
yeah.
so that it doesn't drain out when it's not raining. I mean,
Put some
that's,
mulch somewhere.
yeah, definitely. You got lots of trees here
Yeah,
that you could scrape up some leaves, old
yeah.
leaves. And...
Well, compliments of the season. I don't know if we can still say that.
Well, we can. We haven't seen each other physically,
Yeah,
and so I don't mind
yeah.
it. You know,
That's good. Yeah, and I mean, I think also in September we can still say compliments of the season because that's 3 seasons away. You
definitely.
know.
Like 'cause we're approaching slowly. Like if we round it off, we're already.
Yeah, yeah. Talking about big numbers, your band, the Muffins, is celebrating their 13-year anniversary for their first album, right?
Yeah, Yes, 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 yes. So there's like a lot of dates to celebrate. It's almost like African wedding. It's like
Just
there's,
grouping them.
yeah, there's a lot of things to celebrate.
Yeah.
Like you've got milestones, I guess.
Mm.
That can independently serve as markers. To
Yeah.
celebrate. And so, it's actually 13 years since the launch of our first album.
Mm.
Um, but the band was, sort of together about 2 years before then.
Okay.
So like technically the band is like 15 years old, but it's
Yeah.
been 13 years since we launched
Yeah.
our first album.
The first album
Have
is
you
going
heard?
to the eighth grade next
Yeah,
year.
dog, it's a teen.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy. There's
And
this
the
video
band
clip.
is already in the ninth grade.
Well, yes, yes. There's a video clip where I actually talk about how I can't wait until, it's like, I think we recorded the video when we were 2 years. The band was 2 years old, and we
Mm.
just done this gig at FNB Stadium, biggest gig we've ever done,
Yeah.
right? We're opening for Red Hot Chili Peppers.
What?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's cool,
It was
man.
quite an amazing little thing. And so, like, just being appreciative and like having gratitude for the fact that the band is 2 years old,
Yeah.
and like things like this are happening. And so I can't wait until like we become teenagers.
Yeah.
And so, I guess that time has arrived, and it has come with its challenges.
Of course.
But it has come with a lot of growth as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
mean,
so we are quite excited about like what's going to happen in the
mm.
next couple of years. We've got some plans about what we're trying to do. You have to have a plan.
That's
And
cool.
so I'm excited about this weekend. I'm excited about like the coming year. It's like what's today? February, the first day of
Yeah.
February.
It's the first of Feb.
A pinch and a
Happy,
punch.
happy first of Feb.
Yeah, happy first of
January is
Feb.
over, but the financial constraints of January are still with us
Yeah,
here and
well,
there.
this is true. This is true. Like, especially in industry like mine, you get to see and get to feel sort of these financial constraints. But
For
like,
sure.
there's a lot of work that happens in the
Mm.
festive season,
Mm.
and you can sort of save up some money to help you survive the first couple of months when things are a bit
Of
slow and
course.
people are not looking that much for entertainment.
Yeah.
But like we're getting about it, surviving
Mm.
and hosting some events, and there are people in South Africa is a very diverse country. There are people who've got money, and
Yo, that's the truth, man.
are willing to support artists and creators in this time as well.
Yeah,
And, just need to have the right kind of offering, I guess, to the right kind of audience.
for
So
sure. For
yeah,
sure. And it's strange how the audience can shift and change. I'm sure you've noticed that over the years. You've got some people that have been with you guys from the start, and new people coming in, like constantly churning uh, familiar faces and new faces.
yeah. I mean, the one thing that it's consistently surprised me has been the amount of new fans um, the amount of new fans that are coming to our gigs.
Mm.
Uh, a varied audience. Some older people and some younger people. You know, the older people may have come across the band because, I don't know, on the radio or on YouTube or
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, there are younger people that are coming to our gigs, you know, especially when we're going around university towns.
Yes,
You know,
dude, for
for
sure.
instance, like we'll go and play in Cape Town.
Sure.
There'll be students from, you know, CPUT and what's that other major big university in Cape Town? UCT.
UCT.
You know, and they'll come to us and like, you know, tell us that their parents were fans.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and so
it astounded me when I went to the UJ gig, your guys' UJ gig last year.
Yes.
I was chatting to some of the students there, and they already knew who you guys like were. You know, they were like, we're fans already. We're so excited that they're here at our university and we get to see their show.
Yeah, I think so. That's quite fascinating, you know, to experience, and that there's a younger generation that's falling in love with the music, and
Yeah.
falling in love with live music. An interesting thing also happened talking about young fans. For a period of about maybe a year, about 2 years, around 2017, 2018, we started getting pings and messages from like younger people, you know, who'd come across our music because someone at SABC decided that it's a good idea to play our music just before Dragon Ball Z. You know?
Yo, you got lucky there. That's the funnel, man.
Yeah. Someone decided that, you know, they think it's useful for the Dragon Ball Z watching audience on SABC2 to get exposed to the Muffinz music.
Yeah.
You know? So like, one of two of our music videos would play just before Dragon Ball Z played or just after it finished. You know, and so there's a whole generation of Dragon Ball Z watching boys and, you know, young people, girls, who just fell in love with the music that way, like because they came across it around something that you know they enjoyed, and I guess you know that's encouraging, you know, to think that there's a whole generation that's coming up, you know, who were not our initial target market,
Yeah.
you know, who are getting exposed to the music, but it's only because someone took a decision.
Yeah, and they connect with the music as well. That's the important
Yes.
part, right? If someone doesn't connect with what you're
Yes.
saying, they're not gonna, you know,
Yes.
even if it plays after Dragon Ball Z,
Yes,
you know,
you're right.
if there isn't a message that they're connecting with or a rhythm they're connected, like something in the music that is giving like that they can define as what is good for them, you know,
Yes.
falls
Yes.
into their taste, and in some ways also a taste maker because
Yes,
if people are so
yes.
young, their taste is still developing.
Yes, definitely. But I think one of the things that when I'm thinking about it, I realized that, you know, like the songs from our first album were songs that, you know, we wrote in our teens, right? So I was about 17, 18, 19 when I was writing some of the songs, you know, and I could meet my bandmates and the people that I worked with earlier on and have the songs resonate because we were all around going through the same experiences. And so I totally understand when younger people resonate with the music because it was young people's experience. You know?
Yes.
And so, but I think because of the fact that it's wrapped around live music, automatically makes it mature, and the subject matter makes it mature. So it's less punk, if I can put it like that.
Yeah.
And so there's like a level of maturity, I guess, that as a young person you want to aspire towards, you know. But you know, understanding that these are also young people who are writing this music. You know? And so,
which is special because I mean, between generations, so much changes, you know. But I think there are feelings that stay the same. And across cultures and across borders, we all have similar experiences. You know, that you get excited when you see someone that you love. You know, there are these feelings that can be translated across generations.
Yes, and across cultures. You know,
yes,
like
of
they're quite
course.
universal experiences.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the thing that long-lasting art is able to tap into. Of course, there's a way in which commerciality can make art last long as well, because there are people who've got a vested interest in making the thing survive and be commercially viable, so that, you know, there's money that's generated from that. But I think human experience as well, and tapping into the right kind of personal feelings, you know, can give us art, you know, that can resonate across cultures and across generations, you know. And so I think we're really privileged in that front.
For sure.
You
I mean,
know?
I think also tonight there's a big show. I know this is not going to go out before the
you
show,
know.
but it's your 13th birthday celebration,
Yeah,
among
yeah.
other things. You know,
Yes,
it's
yes.
also a gratitude celebration.
Yes.
You know, to have the guys in your band with you for so many years, for you to show up to be who you need to be on stage and in the organization of it, you know, it's like there's a whole lot of gratitude to go around, a lot to be grateful for,
That's true.
and I think it's very cool that you can also tap into that gratitude. And I think your main message is always like being grateful for what's come across your path. You know.
Yeah, man, because I mean, so much can happen, Chuck. You know, it's like, I mean, you must be aware of this as well that bands don't last usually. It's hard to keep because there are no family ties. There's nothing that really forces us to be together. You know, it's very easy for bandmates to leave and go find other things to do, explore other avenues. But I do believe that when I sort of synthesize it down to two things, like just pay people properly and respect boundaries, and those boundaries are largely around relationships, like don't
Yeah.
mess with each other
Yeah.
and each other's relationships.
Yes. Yeah.
As growing up as young men, like don't like mess with each other's girls.
Yes. Yes. Of course.
As a main, just as a form of respect,
Yeah.
and like acknowledging one another as individuals, and correctly like paying one another, and I think that's been a big part of it as well. That there hasn't been, no one has felt necessarily robbed by being part of the crew. It's fairly compensated. Our wins are our wins collectively. Our losses are our losses collectively
Yeah.
as well.
For sure.
And so there's that.
That's very good. That's awesome. I'm really inspired by it.
There's that.
You guys, I think also there's so many things that mimic life, So as you were saying, there's two important things, right? Pay people properly and respect boundaries.
That's it.
That's a part of the major dealings with any person in life, like is to when we come to pay people properly, it could be wider than that and say that you need to understand and appreciate the value someone brings to the table.
Yes.
And to not mess with relationships.
Yes.
It baffles me how hard it is for some people to not interfere with other people's relationships. Like, I can't see myself fucking with one of my. Can we swear on this podcast?
Pretty sure we can.
We can bleep it out.
Yeah,
If not,
it's pretty fine.
but fucking with someone else's girl or partner or even family members,
Yes.
it requires a lot of communication and proper communication, which I think is the underlying thing, is to be able to be vulnerable in communication with your bandmates and with
Yes.
the people in your life.
Yes.
Yeah. And I kind of want to ask, do you remember the feeling when you guys just started out the band? In the first year or two of the band,
Oh, man.
what did it feel like to be like, cool, I've got band practice today, I'm jamming with the guys, I'm writing, got a small gig here or there?
Well, at that time, Jacques, it was quite an interesting thing because I needed, number one, to prove that I'm working. Sometimes, not sometimes, but generally, there's an assumption that asserts that creative work is not work, right? Especially musician work is not work. It's more play than it is work, right? But then, which absolutely makes sense because, I mean, what do you do with music instruments? It's like you play,
Yeah.
you not play with them, but you play them. And so I can totally understand, but I think there's a mentality also that if you understand it properly, right, can help you sort of excel in being a musician.
Yeah.
né?
Yeah.
Which is understanding work as play, and
For sure.
and not either or.
Yeah.
But understanding that, oh no, this is work, but I do have some flexibility
Yes.
to sort of be creative
Yeah.
or try different avenues that have not been explored yet. And like, do it your own way.
Yeah.
And so when we started this, we had met at university, of course, but none of us actually studied music. The University of Johannesburg doesn't offer music as as part of the curriculum, but they do have other creative things, on the other campuses. But none of us were studying any creative thing. It was like economics, accounting, The one guy studied engineering and then left that and went into audiovisual production. And, I was studying communications and sociology. Um, who else? What else? Oh, we've got another guy was studying to be a CA. And
Sure, it's tough.
but when we got there, I sort of realized that there's a lot of people who are like me, right? Who absolutely love music, love the creation of music, even if it's for hobby purposes.
Yeah.
But because of, let's say, maybe um, finances and or financial projections, of like how much money would you make as a musician? It's like it wasn't the best decision that most people wanted to take, and so you take a job that would like a more corporate job, so like when you go and study, you study something that would sort of guarantee you an income that would not make you die a pauper, as
Yeah.
musicians are known to
Or
be.
an artist in general,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
that, like, there's never been a rich poet.
Yeah, things like that,
Yeah.
and so it's like there were a lot of us who were there in that space, artistically inclined, but would not have the opportunity to practice music because financially, where we come from, like it's not an option, or not an option at all. The thinking was that if you're going to go to university, you need to sort of get your qualification, get qualified, go get a job, and make life better for your people.
That's everybody's story.
Right.
I've got that same story.
Yes,
And
and so-
there isn't a lot of
yeah.
work that allows for creative play,
Yes, yes.
so to speak.
And so at the time, I decided, that at university, I realized that I'm learning quite a bit here. And the reason why these people are teaching me these things is because they are useful and like they can sort of build companies and help to accelerate
Yeah.
the growth of companies, And I figured, how's about we take a few of our skills and like start our own thing?
100%.
Right.
That's the defining factor, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
treating it as a business as well.
Yeah. So decided we have a few skills that we've learned from these institutions, like skills that are sought out by big corporations, because they are worthwhile and useful in like building an organization, So we figured let's take our skills, group them together, and start working, right? But like understand that in my family, this was not the plan. Yeah,
No, I mean,
that was not the plan.
there's never a plan like that.
Yeah, that was not the
very
plan.
rarely a plan.
Yeah, no one's, there's also no one's ever been in business. Like, no one's ever, I mean, of course, people have been in business, like we used to sell the clothes, and
Yeah,
I used to
yeah,
sell
yeah,
some
yeah.
stuff when I was younger in my
Yeah.
family. But no one's actually had a registered business, that they're running as a registered business, and with all the things that business comes with, like the risks.
And event management.
Yeah. So we had to sort of do all of that. And so I had to convince myself, I had to block out the rest of the world and convince myself that I'm working. So like whatever my family was saying, whatever my friends, whatever my, the people who thought they had an opinion about who I'm supposed to be were saying, I had to block all of that out and convince myself I'm working.
Sure.
And I'm working towards this.
And that's work
Yeah,
in
that's
its
more
own
work.
way.
Yeah.
Like to fully believe in yourself and your vision and where you're headed, and
Yeah,
believe
yeah.
that. And it is work.
Yeah, but it's also delusional. I don't know how much work
You've got to
delusion
be a
is.
little bit.
I think so too.
You're going to be on a stage
I think so
to
too.
talk to people. There's got to be something,
I think so too. So it was a quite challenging, quite a challenging time, But I had a belief in the songs that I'd been writing. I knew I'd always be popularly known for something that I do, and there were various things that could have gotten me there, But writing, whether of lyrics or stories or songs, was one of the ways, right? And so I was just like, I need to just capitalize on this, like perfect this, not perfect, but get as good as I possibly can be at this moment in writing these songs, and try and get them out there, and not only out there, but in front of the right audiences. But I
Sure.
mean, I'd been studying marketing and comms at the time.
Yes, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so I had an idea, but like how to do. I had a textbook idea of how to do this. You see.
Yeah.
And so I did it.
I want to ask a question here, a little bit of a pivot, but like with the advent of social media, because it seems like your band kind of saw the rise of social media marketing, right? At the start, it wasn't necessarily a major thing.
Yes.
It started becoming a thing slowly, but now it is something that you cannot avoid.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's like how because I think it's something that you need to be very adaptable in a world where social media marketing moves so quickly, and you need
Yes.
a, how did it change for you guys over the years?
How do I even put this? So, in my marketing sort of classes, I studied Web 0.20 applications, right? And it was fascinating for me, man. Like I was just I became intrigued by it. Like the fact that the internet has now changed from a space of static pages where like you're consuming information that was already there, but to a point where you could create the information and have people consume your information instead of just consuming information that's online. And I started thinking about this. You know, when I sort of understood that, I was just like, oh snap, I get it. What does this mean for me?
Yeah.
You know, what does this mean for me? And so, like, when the social media apps started popping up, I remember I got on Twitter in 2009 as part of a school project. I was like, this is very interesting, you know, and we were supposed to sort of think around, like, what could these spaces be, you know? And, like, one of my main things were they could be like a watering hole, like in nature, right? Where people all gathered to come and satiate themselves with whatever it is that they
Yeah.
find there, right? And so it could be information, it could be, I don't know, but think of water and nature and
Yeah.
wild animals, you
Yes.
know, and like all gathering at particular spots
Sure,
for
yeah.
particular things, right?
The internet is filled with wild animals, bro. Yo, some
Tell
mean
me about it.
motherfuckers,
Tell
dude.
me
Yo,
about it.
this is sorry, this is a bit of a tangent, but there's this Afrikaans lady that put out a song recently,
Okay.
and it's about Brian. But yo, bro, the comments are so rude. It's the meanest motherfuckers you can
Wild
like
animals.
imagine. Wild animals, bro.
Wild animals.
Yeah,
bro.
but it's funny. It's so it's sad. It's sad to say, but it's like it's like watching a ship sink, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's like, and also the spaces have completely changed from like, you know, like when we were growing our pages and the things at the time. It's like the techniques that we used at the time are completely irrelevant right
Yeah.
now. It's the algorithm sort of demands different things. Demands.
Yeah,
The algorithm
yeah,
demands
it
different
does.
things currently, and you know, but like there's a way to sort of work with this, like you said about adaptability, and work with it. You know, I'm realizing, you know, like with this podcast space as well, the podcast space is growing.
Yeah.
You know, and like it's absolutely got, I think, a much more engaged market, right? That is willing to reveal itself
Yeah,
than traditional media consumers.
for sure.
You see, and so
Sure.
I think the people on the consumers of podcasts are much more willing to engage
For sure.
the
Like,
content and
and
engage.
it's easier to engage.
In the
you
real
know?
world.
It wasn't like what did you do back in the day? You had to send an email to SABC, you know?
Exactly.
Like how do you provide feedback? There's no
Exactly.
form on your TV that says like
Exactly.
I liked this episode,
Yeah.
downvote.
And so now it's a good place to be, but we did definitely utilize Web 0.20 when it first came out, you know, to I think the best that we possibly could at the time.
Sure.
And you know, at a certain point, you know, we stopped trying to grow the social media pages. You know, we felt like, well, you know, it became more demanding. Like we had to do more to sort of grow the page, you know, and
Yeah.
like almost to become meme pages. You know,
Yeah,
it's like it's
sure.
almost not enough to be who you are.
No,
You sort of have to be an engagement farmer.
You need to provide the content.
Yeah, you have to
You've got to
become
provide the content.
an engagement
content.
farmer, and we're not. You know, we sometimes we do that depending on like what our needs are. You know, but we largely still want to stick to us being a band, and if we're going to talk about anything, let's talk about our individual lives.
Yeah.
You know, let's talk about our personal experiences, and if we can meme that, that's great. You know, but it's not some effort to try and get as much engagement out of triviality as possible.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. When it comes to the locality of your band, you guys are based in and from Joburg, right?
Sure.
Do you? And I think you guys have gone international to to a good extent, but there's still a sound that you're to me, and it's hard to kind of define.
Sure. I hear what
I'm
you're
sure
saying.
you've heard the question like, so what genre do you guys play?
Yes,
You
yes,
know?
yes. And
But-
they asked me that on the radio on Thursday.
Yeah.
Speaking to an audience of people who largely don't know us, you know. And one of my, you know, sitting answers is I don't want to lie to the audience and, you know, tell the genre that I'd be literally lying if I
Yeah.
had to say one genre. But like, we're a South African band, or I'd even say Southern African band. We've got songs that are in Setswana, in isiZulu, English.
No Afrikaans ones yet.
No Afrikaans yet, but maybe now I've got you.
Yeah,
maybe
man, we can write together. I've got a few songs that I've been working on.
Maybe we can try something. Speaking about that, one of my favorite bands, actually, Tidal Waves. There's a lot of bands in Jersey, you see, and so also what we do is largely a Jersey sound, a Jersey live band sound, and of course it fluctuates amongst the bands. Some are more reggae based, some are more Afro beat, like 6/8 based.
Yes.
Some are more Mbaqanga based, some are more whatever it is, but there's a Jersey sound, that can sometimes be anchored in different genres from around the world. We sort of also mix a few of those, and then we have our own sound.
It's also from your own influence, right?
Yes, from our own
as a band,
influences.
you guys all have different influences from American artists and African artists, and so it's
but
like.
there's also like
Yeah.
like and what you bring to the table.
Yes.
Like outside of being influenced by something, there's something that you bring. And so there's that as well. I was going to tell you about Tidal Waves, and they've got a song called Leka Leka Dance, and you should have seen those guys perform that thing at like festivals and like all these things, and it's a jam, man, and like I've always appreciated Tidal Waves for being able to sort of bridge the live music world in South Africa, because if we have to be honest about it, like my observation has been that we have about basically, I'd say we have two distinct music industries in the country, and it's very easy to racialize it and say there's a white industry, there's a black industry, but it's more complex than that. But if we want to sort of keep it simple, we can racialize it. And
Can you categorize it as English and Vernac?
Well, not necessarily English.
Not necessarily.
It could be white and black.
Yeah.
Because for instance, bands like Tidal Waves would play more in the white circuits, and like the festival circuits, but they wouldn't be as popular in the black festival circuits, so they wouldn't play. I don't know, but there's black festivals that are popular around certain times, but you probably won't find certain bands there. The Muffinz also included in that. But what has happened is that, we signed to Just Music earlier on. We had a licensing deal with Just Music, and they were a largely white record label, run by Carl Anderson, a genius man, who built this record label with his family and signed a lot of bands at the time. Shadow Club was there, Zebra and Giraffe. Who else was there? A lady called Tyler was there. Nakane Toure was there.
Tyler?
Yeah.
The Tyler?
No, not this Tyler. There was another Tyler.
Yeah.
But then they also licensed international music. So like we're on the same label as Adele, because they came in through XL in the UK through Carl Anderson and on Just Music,
Sure.
And so we're in really good company at the time. But like we're also like one of the last bands surviving from that group of bands that were there at the time. And so I was still talking about the different industries that exist in the country, like what we've experienced. And I think there'd be more benefits if we could cross-pollinate the industries.
For sure, and I think that's something that's about to happen.
Yeah, it's already starting.
And I think it's something that we, in some ways we're going back to some roots of entertainment. Because entertainment now lives so like secularly. You've got the musicians, you've got the comedians, you've got the magicians, you've got like all these different. I don't know if magicians, but you know what I mean.
You have to put magicians.
So you've got all these different forms of entertainment, but they live separately, where they can work together so well. And within these different industries,
I think so too.
There's like when it comes to comedy, there's like improv comedy, which is separate from stand-up comedy, which is separate from sketch comedy, and there's we can bring it together, and in a novel world where we love novelty, that's why Instagram blew up so much, is because it's a novel thing. You're always finding new information. There's always something new. If we can set up a show that has some music, some comedy, some improv, a magician, and a band at the end. You know,
yes.
and tie it all together in a package that
Yes.
is, I don't even know what you could call it.
Yeah,
You know?
but and so that's been our major thing. So we haven't, let's say we've played around 5,000 shows in this last couple of years, so 7,000. I need to count actually. But a majority of those shows were shows that we put on ourselves, because it's always, sometimes, people look at a band and they think it's risky to book a band because there's a lot of people
Yeah.
in a band, and they look at a band like us and maybe they're not sure if like we have an audience or not, but like just like check our numbers and come to a gig, and so we've always known our power, right? And so, but we've always known, because we're a band, we understand collective power, and we use that not only with ourselves but with other people as well. So like we do a lot of collaborative gigs, like our current one for this year is Basket and Beats. But before then we've had a few other things. Like we used to have like the Songwriters Soapbox and just monthly gigs that people can come and experience different forms of artistic
and
sort of.
Have you seen Tiny Desk, NPR's Tiny Desk concerts?
Yeah, I have. Loved them.
I heard we had something locally that was similar to that, but it doesn't exist anymore. And if in a world where you need to live two lives as an entertainer, you need to have your live presence and you need to have your online presence. To have something like that in Joburg specifically, I think Joburg is the city for that.
I think so too.
And to be able to showcase new acts and put them on a platform, I think, isn't that what Soapbox was to a certain extent?
Definitely.
So, but now we've got the platform of YouTube and of Instagram and TikTok and all of these spaces that we can create funnels for new musicians and seasoned musicians and book people, and it doesn't really translate well in terms of comedy. Comedy is it's nice to watch a stand-up special on your phone or on the internet, but the way, I guess it's the same with music as well, where the live is where it's real.
Yeah, and I think we should totally take this as a challenge for ourselves. Yeah, honestly, I think we should honestly put something together and then we can refer back to it and be like, oh, so we had this conversation.
Yes.
And I think also report back, right, on like what was the success of the show that would like say, let's get a few musicians together.
Yeah.
Let's get some comedians.
Yeah.
Let's try to have a series of shows. You see.
I think that's a good idea.
And see where that would go. Like, because we'll definitely learn something about like what comedy and music can do together.
Yeah.
Right. And see if we can convince some people. I honestly know that it'll work.
Yeah.
And we're collaborating with you, coming from a different market, it's completely different thing. I think just people are sometimes afraid to like do things because it's never been done. And so you do the first one and it looks like it's a flop, but then you do the next one the next month.
That's the thing as
then
well.
You do the next one the next month, and then you do the next one the next month, and
people
you do
catch
the
on.
next one. People catch on. You get time to refine your process, and you get time to refine your concept.
For sure.
And you could be better, like in just a few months' time. And if you want to continue with the thing, you can continue with the thing. If you want to start another thing that's more refined, you can start another thing. The main thing is just not to give up.
Yeah. The only failure is stopping. There's no such thing as failure when you're doing something.
That's it. And I think right now we're about to fail.
Let's go fail. Oh, it's Fiso.
Cheers, fam.
All right. Good luck with the show tonight, man.
Thank you, homie.
I'm excited to see you guys do your thing.
Yeah, no, sure. Maybe we'll edit a little bit of some live
Oh, that would
clips
be
onto
nice.
this.
Yeah.
It would be great.
If anything we said today was interesting to you, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Contraband RSA for the time being. Yeah.
Sviso Tomza.
Sviso Tomza, Jacques Pinard Berg on Instagram.
We'll see you around. Check out our things that we're doing. Check us live sometime, whether it's comedy or music.
Or comedy and music.
Or comedy and music, which is exactly what's going to be happening.
Let's do this.
Don't forget it.
All right.
Blessings, sir.
Blessings. Signing off.
Dun, da, 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 da.